Have you been paying close attention to Butcher in Season 4 of The Boys? Even if you have, you might not have seen this twist coming. Beware, spoilers ahead. To put it plainly, Billy Butcher is a brutal bloke. In fact, this might be the most obvious statement ever uttered about the beloved Amazon Prime series.
That was diabolical!
However, beneath this devil-may-care unpredictability lies layers of emotional baggage. Unresolved childhood trauma revolving around his younger brother's death, being cuckolded by Homelander, and the gruesome death of his wife Becca, to name a few. As such, the constant clash between morality and purpose has continuously defined his arc throughout the series. More recently, we've seen his inner conflict play out in the form of Becca's apparition acting as the angel on his shoulder, nudging him firmly towards the light on more than one occasion, such as when Butcher decides not to betray Huey by handing over incriminating files to Victoria Newman, or when he chooses to talk to Ryan instead of drugging him and containing him in a facility. Meanwhile, war veteran and CIA case officer Joe Kessler feels like a demon perched on Butcher's other shoulder, whispering the most reprehensible schemes possible at any given moment. And it's in episode 6 where we find out the shocking truth. Kessler is no more real than Becca. He's a figment of Butcher's imagination as well. Should we have seen this coming? Honestly, yes. It's not like this is a new brand of twist we aren't painfully used to by now.
You're a voice in my head.
Your voice in mine.
You're a hallucination. Why can't I get rid of you?
You need me.
Regardless, let's recap a bit and discuss the breadcrumb trail. Butcher meets Kessler at the CIA headquarters after Grace Mallory prevents him from interacting with President-elect Robert Singer, prompting MM to take over. This is also the moment when MM assumes leadership of the boys, as he deems Butcher too unpredictable, especially after it's revealed that his reckless consumption of Compound V has given him a fatal tumor. Just when Butcher is loitering alone in the halls and feeling robbed of purpose, Kessler crops up, like a deus ex machina in the form of a long-lost friend who has returned to team up with the now disenfranchised Butcher. The two chat about how they go far back, expressing fondness for each other while establishing an emotional baseline for near-future cooperation.
We need someone like you, Billy. Right now.
Right off the bat, there are some glaring inconsistencies. Although the boys have been collaborating with the CIA for quite some time, no other operative ever mentions Kessler, not even Mallory, who is close to Butcher despite the two sharing a somewhat contentious relationship. During the reunion scene, no one else bumps into Kessler or acknowledges him. If we are to take Kessler's credentials at face value, his return to the CIA would be considered a big deal in their plans to thwart Vought. This pattern continues whenever Kessler shares a scene with Butcher, as the two only converse with one another without being perceived by a third party. The horrifying ordeal at Stan Edgar's farmhouse in episode 5 is an especially strong example of this. Butcher and Kessler kidnap Samir after amputating his leg and speak in the prisoner's presence. Samir does not acknowledge Kessler at all, but answers to Butcher alone as if he is the only other person in the room. He even looks confused when Butcher looks over at Kessler and says, "We'll patch you up." Beyond that, Kessler seems to know the members of the boys a little too well, even when taking his profession into consideration. During a conversation with Butcher, his descriptions of the team members feel too personalized and derogatory, resembling Butcher's perception of them over the years. Kessler doesn't know these people at all, but hones in on specific traits that reduce them to their inherent or perceived flaws. He reduces MM to his anxiety, Huey to his inability to act without conviction, and Frenchie to his tendency to resort to drugs. Thinking about this in retrospect, it's easy to see that Kessler is just a personified version of Butcher's most resentful thoughts about his flawed team. So what actually happened to Kessler? Turns out he's been dead for years, and was abandoned and left to die by Butcher no less. Every time Kessler expressed warmth for Butcher during his hallucinations, it was a gross inversion of the truth to alleviate guilt over the wrongdoings of his violent and turbulent past. After Butcher is forced to face the truth, he realizes that every extreme proposition put forward by Kessler stems from his own tortured heart. The callous indifference towards others, the sudden violent misogyny, and even the urge to wipe out every soup to appease his twisted sense of retribution. It remains to be seen whether Butcher will let Kessler in by accepting these horrible parts of himself, or banish him altogether while he's still in control of his mental faculties. The light surrounding Becca's desperate pleas for Butcher's salvation seems to be dimming with time, paving an unforgivably dark path that will only end in tragic catastrophe.